I'm pulling the core ideas from Annie Duke's Quit, so I can shape this into a high-energy, practical YouTube talk with motivational intensity and no fluff. Here's a YouTube talk built around Annie Duke's Quit, the power of knowing when to walk away, delivered with high energy, conviction, urgency, and practical punch in the spirit of Tony Robbins-level momentum and Gary Vee-style directness while staying original. Annie Duke's core argument is that quitting is not weakness, but a skill, and that we often stay stuck because of sunk costs, identity, and cultural overpraise of grit. She's a former professional poker champion and decision strategist, and the book is explicitly framed as a toolkit for mastering the skill of quitting. Let me say something that most people are too scared to say out loud. Sometimes the most powerful move in your life is not to keep going. It is to walk away. Walk away from the dead-end business. Walk away from the draining relationship. Walk away from the identity that no longer fits. Walk away from the version of you that keeps mistaking endurance for intelligence. Because we were raised on this lie: winners never quit and quitters never win. But Annie Duke flips that whole idea on its head. She says quitting is not failure. Quitting is a decision-making skill. Quitting is what allows you to stop pouring your time, energy, money, and life into something that is no longer serving your future. And this matters because most people are not trapped because they are weak. They are trapped because they are loyal to an old decision. Read that again in your mind. Most people are not losing because they picked wrong. They are losing because they refuse to reevaluate. That is where people get stuck for years. They keep saying, "I already put so much into this. I can't stop now. What will people think? I have to prove I can make this work." No, that is not strength. That is emotional debt. You are not making a fresh decision anymore. You are defending your past. And Annie Duke's whole message is this: the goal is not to prove your past self was right. The goal is to make the best decision from where you stand now. That is a massive shift, because high performers get praised for persistence. Hustle culture praises grind. The world claps for people who never give up. But let's be honest. If you keep going in the wrong direction, you do not get a trophy for intensity. You get exhaustion. You get resentment. You get wasted years. And this is where this message becomes real. There are people right now watching this who know, deep down, that something in their life is over. Not because they are lazy, not because they are incapable, but because the return is gone. The alignment is gone. The energy is gone. The truth is gone. And they are still holding on because quitting feels like death to the ego. But sometimes quitting is exactly what lets your real life begin. Because every yes to the wrong thing is a no to the right thing. Every month spent forcing a bad fit is a month stolen from your actual future. Every ounce of energy spent maintaining what is dead is energy you cannot invest in what wants to live. That is why knowing when to walk away is power. Not emotional power, not fake motivational power, strategic power. The kind of power that protects your time. The kind of power that protects your focus. The kind of power that protects your destiny. And let's make this practical. Here is how you know you may need to quit something. Number 1. You are staying mostly because of what you already invested. Time, money, emotion, years, reputation. That is the trap. Because the universe does not care how long you have been doing the wrong thing. It only cares what is true now. Number 2, your identity is tied to it. This one is huge. You are not afraid of losing the thing. You are afraid of losing the story. I'm the person who makes it work. I'm the loyal one. I'm the grinder. I'm the one who never stops. But what if your next level requires becoming someone who knows when to stop? What if maturity is not endless persistence? What if maturity is discernment? Number 3. The opportunity cost is screaming at you. This is big. Every bad commitment crowds out a better one. That toxic partnership? It is costing you peace and momentum. That business model that is clearly done? It is costing you innovation. That routine that no longer works? It is costing you growth. People think quitting is about loss. No. Often quitting is about access. You walk away from one thing so your hands are free to build the next thing. That is not weakness. That is evolution. And let me give you the mindset shift that changes everything. Quit the path, not the purpose. You may need to quit the strategy, not the vision. Quit the method, not the mission. Quit the vehicle, not the destination. Some of you are trying to save a chapter that is already finished when the next chapter is waiting for your courage. And courage is not always charging forward. Sometimes courage is saying, "This no longer makes sense. This no longer fits who I am becoming. This worked for who I was, but it is not built for where I'm going." That is grown energy. That is leadership. That is self-respect. And let's talk about something else. Walking away creates clarity. When you stay too long, everything gets noisy. You overthink. You rationalize. You bargain. You negotiate with your own truth. But the second you leave what is misaligned, your nervous system starts telling the truth again. Your energy comes back. Your creativity comes back. Your vision comes back. Why? Because indecision is draining. Misalignment is expensive. And pretending is exhausting. So no, quitting is not always the easy way out. Sometimes quitting is the hardest move in the room, because it means you are willing to disappoint your ego, release sunk costs, let go of applause, and trust that your life is bigger than your current attachment. That is what winners actually do. They do not stay committed to every decision. They stay committed to better decisions. That is a different standard. So here is the question for you. Where in your life are you mistaking endurance for wisdom? Where are you staying because of history instead of possibility? Where are you dragging something forward that should have been released 6 months ago? A year ago? 5 years ago? And what would happen if today you gave yourself permission to stop proving and start choosing? Because the truth is, your future does not need your guilt. Your future needs your honesty. Your next level does not need more blind loyalty. It needs better judgment. Your life does not open when you cling harder. It opens when you tell the truth faster. So yes, fight for what matters, build what matters, commit to what matters. But do not worship persistence just because the world told you grit is holy. Sometimes grit builds empires. Sometimes grit builds prisons. Wisdom is knowing the difference. And that is the power of knowing when to walk away. If this hit you, then do this right now. Drop a comment with one word. Stay or walk, no explanation. No performance. Just truth. And if you know you've been holding on to something that no longer fits, this is your sign. Not to give up on life. Not to give up on your future, but to give up on what is no longer worthy of your life. Because quitting the wrong thing may be the first real commitment you make to the right one.